I certainly didn't score a lot of goals in the 6-yard box. The goals that I scored were probably on the edge of the box and outside.
Still Sammels, and he's got a bang on him! Oh, magnificent goal! Jon Sammels!
Jon Sammels was the one who sealed it. The goal that lifted Arsenal beyond England. The goal that made history. Fairs Cup, Anderlecht, the strike that cracked open Europe and changed everything. But his name doesn't echo like it should. There's no banner, no tribute in lights, just a memory that keeps slipping further from the club that once cheered him. He wasn't loud, he wasn't flashy, but he did the job others couldn't. Smart on the ball, calm in the chaos, and when it mattered most, ruthless. Then came the ankle, then came the silence. They lifted the cup. He watched from the shadows. No testimonial, no grand send-off, just the quiet shuffle of a man who gave his best and wasn't asked to stay. This isn't a fall from grace, it's a disappearance. The kind football deals to those who don't demand attention. Jon Sammels didn't ask for credit, and Arsenal never offered it. Subscribe for the players who gave magic and never got it back. Jonathan Charles Sammels, born 23rd July 1945 in Ipswich, Suffolk, raised in the quiet village of Grundisburgh, just a few miles from Woodbridge. His feet touched football early. But it wasn't just the ball, it was the badge. Even as a boy, it was always Arsenal. The cannon wasn't just on the kit, it was in his chest. At 16, he joined the youth ranks at Highbury in 1961. By 17, they saw what was coming. A midfielder who moved with calm, passed like a technician, struck the ball like it meant something. He wasn't a showman, he was a craftsman, measured, exact, quiet. He represented England youth, 7 caps, then moved up to England U23 with 9 more and 1 goal. They called him elegant, but beneath the polish was weight. His left foot could bend a match, his right could bury it. He wasn't chasing fame, he was waiting for Arsenal. And Arsenal, they were about to need him more than they knew. He waited. For 3 years, he trained in the shadow of others. No headlines, no guarantees, just faith. Then it came. 27th April 1963, Blackpool. He stepped onto the pitch at Highbury. 1 chance, 1 strike, 1 goal. Jon Sammels had arrived. But Arsenal, and the game, made him wait again. 1963-64. 2 appearances. 1964-65, none. A talent on hold. Not for lack of skill, but because timing can be cruel, even to the right man. Still, he didn't flinch, didn't complain. He learned, he sharpened, he waited. Then in 1965-66, the door creaked open. And by 1966-67, he was everywhere, ever present. The metronome in midfield. Passing lanes bent around him, strikes from distance made goalkeepers fold. He wasn't the loudest, but his feet were fluent. Every movement had meaning. He became undroppable. Not because he demanded it, but because the game started flowing to his rhythm. Jon Sammels didn't break through with noise. He broke through with precision. And once he was in, you couldn't imagine Arsenal without him. By the late 60s, he was the rhythm behind Arsenal's fight. Midfield belonged to Sammels. Every pass a calculation, every shot a statement. But medals don't come easy, and for years Arsenal came close and fell. 1968. Wembley, League Cup final versus Leeds, tight, bitter, lost 1-0. Sammels played, couldn't shift it. 1969, Wembley again, League Cup final versus Swindon Town, a lower league side, embarrassment written across every blade of grass. Lost 3-1 in extra time. Sammels was there again, fighting ghosts. Twice to the brink, twice denied. But he didn't crack. He just kept playing, kept driving, because something bigger was coming. 1969-70, Intercity's Fairs Cup, Europe. Arsenal had never won it, never crossed that line. First leg of the final, lost 3-1 to Anderlecht in Belgium. Most thought it was over. Sammels didn't. Second leg, Highbury, he struck. Clean, ruthless. Arsenal won 3-0, 4-3 on aggregate. History. The first European triumph in club history. And the winning goal, Jon Sammels. The roar was thunder, the moment eternal, but fate doesn't hand out happy endings. Not to everyone, not to him. Behind that glory, a crack had already begun to form. You win them Europe, then the game takes your legs. The 1970-71 season should have been his coronation. The year Arsenal went for the double, League, FA Cup, glory on both ends. But for Jon Sammels, the season started with a twist. An ankle injury that refused to heal. The timing couldn't have been worse, not after what he'd just given. He tried to come back, tried to force the rhythm again. But the game had moved. Faster, rougher, less patient. He made enough league appearances to earn a medal. But the FA Cup final? He watched it from the outside. The club lifted the double. The history books were written. And Sammels, the man who got them to the door, was left in the corridor. That night, the night before the final, Bob Wilson remembered the wait. He was seriously choked up. I can't imagine what it was like for him, after all those years. The ankle wasn't just an injury. It was a sentence. The game moved on. Arsenal moved on. And for Jon Sammels, the pain wasn't just in the joint. It was in the silence that followed. He gave them Europe, played through bruises, scored when it mattered. But when the rhythm slipped, so did the applause. By the time his ankle betrayed him, so had the crowd. They started to murmur. Then they booed. Not every fan, not every match, but enough to hear it. He'd walk off the pitch after 90 minutes of work and hear what no player should. A scapegoat, a target. Not for failure, but for being too quiet in a game that rewards noise. Sammels never shouted. He let his passing speak. But when the cheers turned, there was no defense. His own words say it all. I tried to do my best, and to my horror, realized the crowd was getting at me. I simply went home and worried. No interviews, no drama, just silence and doubt. He was unmarried, alone, and carrying the weight of a club's disappointment, even after delivering its dream. This wasn't a clash with management. It wasn't a scandal. It was worse. It was being forgotten while still in the room. By the summer of 1971, Jon Sammels knew. The shirt he once dreamed of was no longer his. He didn't throw a tantrum. He just wrote the request. Arsenal accepted. No tribute, no farewell, no second look. He was sold to Leicester City for £100,000, the price of a man they no longer needed, even if he had delivered what they'd never had before. At Leicester, he didn't fall apart. He didn't fade, he rebuilt. Under Jimmy Bloomfield, he played 7 seasons, became a pillar in midfield, and helped shape one of the club's most fluid attacking sides. 241 league appearances, 21 goals, and a 1971 Charity Shield win tucked into the silence Arsenal left behind. He didn't ask for headlines, he didn't need revenge, but deep down, he must have known the move wasn't just a transfer, it was an exhale, the end of something that never fully loved him back. By 1978, the boots were heavier. The game had changed again. But Jon Sammels still had one more chapter left in him. He crossed the Atlantic, signed for the Vancouver Whitecaps in the NASL. New cities, new rules, same feet, same silence. He played 54 games, scored 7 goals, and helped guide the Whitecaps to the 1979 NASL Championship. That team, years later, was inducted into the British Columbia Sports Hall of Fame, a rare footnote of recognition in a career that deserved more. After Vancouver, he returned home. Played briefly at Nuneaton Borough, lower league, slower pace, but the same discipline, the same grace. Then it ended. No farewell match, no cameras, no goodbye headline. He walked away from the game the same way he walked through it, quietly, precisely, and without complaint. He lives in Leicester now, quiet, 80 years old, far from Highbury, far from noise. After football, he worked as a driving instructor. The same composure, just a different lane. No fanfare, no ceremony, just a man who played the game right. And then disappeared when it stopped calling his name. No club tribute night, no reunion banners or legacy interviews, but go back, watch the tape from 1970. And you'll see it, the strike that changed Arsenal forever. Jon Sammels, winning goal, Fairs Cup, Arsenal's first taste of Europe. That moment is still there. But he isn't. He was never bitter, just honest. He once said, "If a player satisfies half the crowd, he's done well. I didn't even have that." This isn't a tragedy, it's a reminder that sometimes the quiet ones build the very foundations others are remembered for. and they vanish with grace. Subscribe if you believe men like Jon Sammels deserve more than silence. Comment if you still remember the past before the glory.